On this episode of Cornerstone Cages, we're going to be talking about feeders. On this channel, our focus is helping you have the best rabbit project possible. So let's go ahead and we'll get straight into the video. One of the earliest type feeders that's been around forever and ever is the crock. Now, this is a very small crock, but it still serves the purpose, and that is just to show you that it is a ceramic bowl. It's a little heavier than a normal bowl, you might say, just simply so that the rabbits don't tip it over. That's the primary reason. But you know, a lot of people will use crocks. We personally don't use the crocks, but you can use this as a water or a feeder. Now, one of the things that you want to take into consideration that some people will say don't use a metal feeder for, or don't use a metal feeder because the rabbit may chip its tooth. Well, the thing about that is certainly it is a DQ, so you definitely don't want to put a rabbit on the table that is going to have a chipped tooth. But under most circumstances, they're in a wire cage, and the rabbits are going to chew. Since their teeth continually grow, they're going to chew. So whether they're chewing on a metal feeder or they're chewing on a crock, they're going to chew. So the point is that some people say, don't use metal feeders. But it has been in my experience that, you know, if they're going to chip a tooth, they're going to chip a tooth. They can chip it right there on the wire that they're caged in. But anyways, crocks are good. The pluses is that you can find these readily. You don't have to cut the cage. They can just be thrown in there. The bad side is that the rabbits can get into the feeder and they can soil the feed. They'll pee in it and so on. As far as their poop is concerned, rabbits do eat their poop. Especially in the wild, if you have a wire cage where it falls through and they just can't do that. But that's the first thing that they do normally in the morning. I forget the technical term for it. But anyways, that's the reason I don't use crocks, is because they can get in it and they can contaminate the feed. Another option is a metal feeder such as this. Now, you'll find these at the big box type stores. This has a wire bottom, and you can get Finex and so on, and I used Finex for years and years and years. The problem with the wire is that there's acid in the feed, and over a period of time that acid eats the wire, and it doesn't take much of a couple of places in this wire to rush through and break to create a hole that you start losing feed out of. This particular feeder, I wouldn't care for it because it's also been painted, and no matter what, you can't stop the rabbits from chewing on the feeder and other things that may be in the cage. So I wouldn't feel comfortable with them chewing on this. Now, a feeder that we have gone to is, you know, the galvanized sheet metal feeder. It has perforated bottom. So instead of the wire bottom, it's perforated. And see if I can get a good picture of that. All it is just holes that allows the fines to fall through. So, you know, the wire feeder, wire bottom feeder is good for that. You don't want to use the solid bottom. You're going to have to clean that quite often. Hardly ever do you have to clean one of these types of feeders. There's also slotted feeders, and so instead of the perforated holes here, what you have is slots. And so we'd love for you to share your likes and dislikes and why you use your particular feeder. So leave your comments down below, and also like, share, and subscribe. We sure would appreciate it. We're trying to build up our subscribers. We're just starting out, and so if we can help you out in any way, just let us know. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have. I'd also want to make note that here on the back side is a place where you can put a card, and you can keep that for your records. What we use is just masking tape, and we take it off and on, and I keep a computer program up to date as far as when the doughs kindle and who's bred to who and all that kind of good stuff. But you can make out your own cards, and I can share that information with you. You can just print it on cardstock, and then that way you can be very specific in the information that you would put on that card, and you can have an easy 10, 12 records here on one single 3x5 card. So this is the option that we choose here at Cornerstone Cages. It is the particular size or the particular brand that we sell. If people do want us to include in an order the feeders, and so they come in 3.5, 5.5, 7.5, 9.5, and 12.5. We keep in stock the 3.5, 5.5, and 7.5. You typically don't need anything bigger than that. So if we can help you out in any way, just let us know, and appreciate you watching the video.